Oh my gosh, live 2 times in one day. It's crazy. But on top of the previous live I did for the group, I also wanted to do my kind of weekly live Facebook tips on arriving for your race. Kind of the race week, your agenda. I've been asked several questions about athletes in the past and answered it several times. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Every time I answer the question, something else comes to mind or something else comes up. Even my athletes have made some suggestions I never thought of before, which is great. I always love to hear new things and new ideas, and after 15 years, I'm still hearing new ideas and new things. But I want to kind of go over it. I know this week, right now, this time, Ironman Florida's coming up. I got a few athletes going out there. So, what I would recommend is the following, and I posted this kind of in text, but I'll kind of expand on it in person because sometimes people like video more than they like reading things. And you get notifications in Facebook, and Facebook kind of likes videos more. So hopefully you like seeing my face. Even though I don't know why. Well, I did go swimming this morning, so that kind of explain maybe the raccoon eyes I got going on. And pardon me if I keep rubbing my eyes because I've got chlorine kind of eyeballs going on. I did take a shower, I promise. So, back to the point. Race week. What I like to try to hit home with people is don't be rushed. I've done it before. I did it for Indian Wells last year, a half out in Indian Wells, California, the Palm Springs area. For those of you who don't know, and I didn't know my geography out there before I went and did that race anyway. I wish I was doing it again. It was really fun, really nice. But I flew in the morning before the race with just enough time to get my bike, put it together, check in, go down to the lake, wash the suit off for zebra mussel or any kind of contaminants for the lake that we were swimming in. We had to wash our wetsuits in bleach or dip them in there for a minute. It's crazy. So there's multiple. Had to go check in, get my bike, get all the stuff, put the bike in, go check in and get my wetsuit all set up and transition bags out there at T1 and then get everything set up at T2. And it was a whirlwind. I got up at the butt crack of dawn on Saturday and flew out there. Luckily, it wasn't a direct flight because you can't get a direct flight to Palm Springs. I don't think. It's been a minute. But rushed, got out there, slammed everything together. I think I got to bed at a decent time, got some food, and then basically it was just go, go, go from the time I got in the airplane to the time I got to bed. Wake up, do the race. I think that led to my lower back just killing me on the bike more than usual. Got done with the race, had to pack up my bike, send it back to the post office to get mailed back in, then do some work stuff, and then get ready to turn around and fly to a different location in San Francisco for some work stuff. It was just a crazy nonstop running around, and after doing this for 15 years, I kind of knew the process, and I was pretty confident I could pull it off. It was very uncomfortable. I think I paid for it on the bike with my back issues. But that goes to the point. Try to get there at least. Give yourself a full day between the race and getting to your location. So plan your arrival. If your race is on a Saturday, get there Thursday. If it's on a Sunday, get there Friday. I know that kind of cuts into work time, vacation schedules, and all that. But having that full day, you get in the first day, get settled, get all your food all set up, get your stuff unpacked, and then Saturday, Friday, whichever day it is before the race, you have time to get yourself situated, have a good breakfast, get some good rest, get your stuff, get your pack and pick up, and then a little bit of time to do all your drop-offs and everything, and then still have enough time to maybe have a nice relaxing dinner or something like that, go through your lists and all this other stuff. Just gives you time to decompress before the race because the race is stressful enough. You don't want to add in compressing your timetable right before you get there. Now, sometimes that can't be avoided, but I highly recommend giving at least one day, especially for fulls. You really don't have a choice. Nowadays, they're starting to let some people do check in the day before, but really, for fulls, minimum one day before the race. I do 2 days just because most of them don't have check-in the day before the race. So you don't want all that stress running around trying to figure it out with 1 or 2 days. But for half, at least one day before the race, get there, get checked in, get all that, if you can. So one of my points is make sure if you know the race is Saturday or Sunday, because that could get you if you think it's Sunday, and it's actually on a Saturday, which is, some events are on Saturdays, which is nice. You can use Sunday as a travel day to get back home. You don't have to take that extra day off, but just be aware, be ready. Oh no, my computer with my tips just went off. I'm obviously not as prepared as my tips suggest you should be. Part of it, let me check my other tips here. Arrival days for getting stuff squared away, food, lodging, unpack, get your bearings, all that. I kind of mentioned that. Day before the race, you should check in, check out the race expo, prep gear, bike drop, relax for a minute or two. So it's nice you can go to the expo and kind of actually experience it instead of just having to rush through, get your stuff, get your packet, go get your bike ready, go get your stuff ready, get in the bags, and then slam it in there and hope you remembered everything. It gives you a little bit of time to relax and actually kind of enjoy the whole event as a whole. Other tips, maybe get in 3 days earlier, and I also suggest this for my athletes. If you get in a little bit earlier, it also gives you an opportunity to put your bike together if you have to travel with it, or even if it's just on your car. Give you a chance to ride your bike around, to maybe do a quick run, maybe if they have an open water swim opportunity at the race location, just to get some opportunities to get out there and stretch your legs, move your legs, get some experience in the area. Make sure your bike is working if you need to take it to a bike shop or the bike mechanic at the expo. If you get there the day before the race, especially at a half, and do the check-in, find out you've got a problem with your bike, more than likely that bike mechanic at the expo is going to be slammed. You're going to be running around with a chicken head, with your head cut off, either trying to find a bike or trying to find a mechanic to work on your bike. So getting there 2 to 3 days even before, if your schedule allows, gives you an opportunity to absorb any kind of hiccups that come along the way. Check the other tips here. Said it's no fun being rushed. These events are supposed to be fun. This is kind of a hobby for most of us. So it's no fun just running around, being slammed, and being tired. We do that anyway, being in a time-crunched period of time in life, especially when we're doing long course endurance events and training. You don't want to be just slammed. These events are supposed to be the celebration of all your training. So giving yourself a little bit of time to relax, to breathe, exhale, to kind of enjoy yourself. It's always kind of nice. One other point is, a lot of races might have multiple transitions. So, like I said, with Indian Wells last year, good Lord, the transitions, it took 20, 25 minutes to get from one to the other. And the way it worked out, I didn't want to drop my bike off first thing. I had to go get my packet, I had to go back to where I was staying, get my bike ready, I had to go drop off my wetsuit, and then went back to the second transition, to drop off my bike in the bag there for that transition. It took the entire day. So if you've got multiple transitions, you need to account for that, especially looking up into the future. I mean, Tulsa, the T1 and T2 are going to be a substantial difference apart, so it's going to take a large bulk of the day probably doing all your drop off. They're going to allow some drop off. You can drop off your bike and your gear at T2 and they'll transport it for you, but then, personally, I like to actually put my bike on the rack. I like to put my bags where I know they're going to be, and it just takes less of the anxiety out to actually do it yourself. So having that extra time allows you to absorb that time that it takes to do all this kind of process and management issues with your race. And always make a checklist, make a to-do list. I've distributed it. If you need it, always send me a note, and I will send you my race day checklist. People, if they sign up for my email newsletter, should have it as well. It's one of the perks of signing up for the newsletter. If you haven't signed up, let me know, and I'll send you the link. You can get signed up. But a checklist, just put in it. It's printed out. I always have a pen with it. I'm always writing stuff down. It just takes less of the anxiety of trying to remember everything, and it's in one place. I like sticky notes, but I don't like sticky notes because if you got them everywhere, it's kind of hard to keep them organized. But this will definitely help with race week. You got enough anxieties, enough stuff on your mind. Getting it on paper and pencil, and don't lose it, and have it in one location is key to help get you ready for your race and take out some of the anxiety. So this kind of addresses all the kind of the race week, the logistics of getting prepped and prepared, not necessarily the training aspect about it, but more the logistics aspect of when should I get there, what should I be doing, how much time should I allow for this, that, and the other. And I always say at least a solid day for a half, get there a solid day before, for a full 2 to 3 days to really get your bearings, get everything settled, Especially, you don't want that anxiety building up. You don't want to waste that energy just worried about everything. If you could press that time you show up for in a race, it's just not healthy for you. Like I said, you want to enjoy this. This is supposed to be fun. So, if you got any questions, let me know. I'm always here for you. We'll talk to you later.